Howdy, howdy. I believe I am live. I had a nightmare getting stuff set up, and hopefully everything works right tonight. Oh man. Um, so my little RSS news feed, I couldn't get that to work, and of course I had to fight to get a chat that was going to work right. Hopefully it works right. That is on the screen chat. And wow, so I do have a view from the Israel-Lebanon border, and so we'll leave that in the background as we go over stuff. Oh man, lots of stuff. I've been like trying to get good video in Vito VR, so my head's still stuck in that. I've been trying to get some really good shots with that, so gonna put together just a fun little video. So anyway, like I say, news has just been typical news. It's been the typical insanity. However, of course things are not getting necessarily any better. At least Israel and or Iran is not a smoldering pile of rubble at this point. I don't really know what's going on in Ukraine, and the reason I say that is because there seems to be a whole hell of a lot of conflicting reports. So I am not going to throw all of my weight in one direction or the other as to what's going on there. Because one thing that I realized, one second. One of the things that I realized is that they're doing everything they can to keep Ukraine in the game at least long enough that that they can get the F-16s rolling and all that good stuff. So they're trying to keep them at least in the fight enough for that, for them to be able to whip out some of the more advanced equipment. Will it make a difference? I don't know. I don't know what's really going on there right now because, like I say, it's very conflicting between what Russia says, what Ukraine says. Ukraine makes it sound like they're really making it far, well, not far, but they're really doing a good job holding their ground and even possibly able to advance here and there. Russia's saying they're wiping them out, left and right. So who knows without being there. Man, crazy. I did have some stuff on the web thing. Hang on, I got stuff popping up. Anyway, I got stuff on the web front. Let's see. This is, oops, I didn't get that pulled up. Sorry, I'm distracted. Let me get the web view pulled up. Alright, so this is one of them. Says Ukrainian invasion forced estimated over 2,000 dead. There will be no mercy, Moscow declares. And again, that's more or less coming from Moscow. But if you look at the other side of it, hang on. Ukrainian drone attack of unprecedented size. Russians destroyed 117 UAVs in one night. You know what I'm saying? So it's hard to really tell without actually being there. Germany, they locked down a military base due to possible sabotage, so we'll cover a little bit of that. Iran has formally requested S-400s and Su-35s. Let's see. And then the Tuesday night, I had mentioned something about North Korea and them sending missiles. What was it? The Hyosung, was it the 11 or the 13? I can't remember for sure. And now they're supposed to get hundreds of THAAD 360 and Ababil or something like that ballistic missiles from Iran. So now both North Korea and Iran is sending Russia missiles. So let me go ahead and we'll start with that. Let's see. Dozens of Russian military personnel are being trained in Iran to use the THAAD 360 short-range ballistic missile system, 2 European intelligence sources told Reuters, adding that they expected the imminent delivery of hundreds of satellite-guided weapons to Russia for the war in Ukraine. Russian Defense Ministry officials are believed to have signed a contract December 13th in Tehran with Iranian officials for the THAAD 360 and another ballistic missile system made by Iran's state-run aerospace industry organization called Ababil. The two officials said intelligence agencies who spoke on condition of anonymity. Citing multiple confidential sources, the officials said Russian personnel visited Iran to learn how to operate the THAAD 360 defense system, which fires missiles with a maximum range of 120 kilometers or 75 miles, which carries a 150-kilogram warhead. One of the sources said the only possible next step after the training would be the actual delivery of the missiles to Russia. Moscow has its own ballistic missiles, but the procurement of the THAAD 360s could allow Russia to use its arsenal for targets beyond the front line, while using Iran's missiles for shorter-range targets, he said, a military expert. The White House declined to confirm that Iran was training Russian military personnel on the THAAD 360 or that it was preparing to ship the weapons to Russia for use against Ukraine. Spokesman for the U.S. National Security Council said the United States and its NATO allies and G7 partners stand ready to provide a swift and severe response if Iran proceeds with such transfers. It would represent a dramatic escalation of Iran's support for Russia's war of aggression against Ukraine, the spokesman said. So, will the U.S. respond if they send these missiles? I don't see it. Oops. I honestly do not see it. I think it's just a lot of posturing as usual. Of course, they're still expecting a large-scale direct attack by Iran, but also, as you can see, everything looks quiet. Alright, let's see. Alert in Germany, lockdown military base due to possible sabotage. A German air base next to Cologne Airport was sealed off today, as authorities investigate a possible criminal offense related to the water supply system, which is suspected to have been sabotaged, the German news agency and Reuters reported, citing a source to security forces. The incident was first reported by news magazine Der Spiegel, according to the DPA. According to Spiegel, the water supply network of this base, with 4,300 military and 1,200 civilian personnel, may have been contaminated after someone breached its perimeter. The magazine adds that the case is being investigated by the police, the military police, and the Military Intelligence Service, or MAD. As reported by the German agency, a hole was discovered in a fence of the base which borders the airport, and suspicions were raised of sabotage of the base's water supply system. Although this has not yet been confirmed, water samples have been taken and are being tested. No one is currently allowed to enter or leave the base, and police have cordoned off the wider area, DPA said. The base is home to the fleet of military aircraft used for the travel of the Chancellor and his ministers. Reuters notes the Defense Ministry in Berlin and military intelligence were not immediately available for comment. Cologne police said they could not comment. So that is not, that's not good. Definitely not good. Russia seems to be less and less in favor of the idea of any type of negotiations as things continue to go on. Let's see. This is the claimed drone attack. Says Russian air defenses destroyed 117 drones and 4 tactical missiles fired overnight from Ukraine, targeting several regions, including Kursk, the Russian Defense Ministry announced today. The missiles and 37 drones were destroyed over the Kursk region, the ministry said via the Telegram platform, while 37 drones were destroyed over the Voronezh region, among others. The Russian ministry did not release a total figure for the drones and missiles launched by Russia. The governor of the, I don't know if that's Voronezh, I'm not sure, region, Alexander Gushev, said that overnight Ukraine launched more than 35 drones against his region, which is several hundred kilometers south of Moscow. There were no casualties, Gusev said on Telegram. So, not a whole lot on that, so doesn't sound like they really decimated a bunch of stuff, that's for sure. Now this is the claim of the decimation. Now these were all the articles I had up, and if anybody's wondering about any of this stuff, let me know. Cordon tightens around the Ukrainian invasion force as the Russian army's air force, artillery, and drones destroy more than 2,200, or I can't even read, 220 armored vehicles, with Kiev's casualties now exceeding 2,000 men. The situation begins to stabilize gradually, with Russian forces attempting to cut off and encircle the Ukrainian invasion force. The upper hand slowly and steadily appears to be being gained by Russian forces in the area invaded last week by Ukrainian and Western well-trained commandos. There is no stable front line in the Kursk region. The enemy is trying to gain territory in some areas, but the Ukrainian troops have been successfully blocked. An official close to the governor of the Russian Kursk province announced, and he added the situation remains difficult but controlled and manageable. Individual groups of enemy troops are destroyed, and fighting continues in several areas. Ukraine has lost up to 420 soldiers and 55 armored vehicles in the past 24 hours in the Kursk region, according to the Russian Defense Ministry. Russian Ministry of Defense added that Ukraine's total losses in the area amounted to 2,030 soldiers, 35 tanks, and more than 220 other armored vehicles and 4 air defense systems. Earlier today, the commander of the Special Forces of the Akhmat unit, Apti Aladinov, announced that most of the first echelon of Ukrainian troops and resources that entered the Kursk province of Russia last week have been destroyed, and the situation has been brought under control. The Russian military confirmed that it had thwarted infiltration attempts by mobile armed units of the enemy near the communities of Talpino, Zuravli, and Abchichi Kolodez, which are located 30 kilometers from Ukraine. According to the source, these advances have been halted in the last 24 hours by Air Force, drone, and artillery strikes, and the deployment of reservists of the North Group, which has been deployed in the Ukrainian region of Kharkiv. In addition, the Russian military reported striking Ukrainian troops with missiles and artillery near the communities of Sunja, Kornevo, Storagia, Sorochitsa, and Borky as well as preventing an infiltration into Belovsky district further east. So yeah, take all that stuff. So who knows? Who really, truly knows? I know there's a lot of fear mongering going on with the monkeypox thing, and everybody and their brothers making videos of it, the mpox, and woo-loo-loo-loo-loo-loo. It's gonna get everybody, and it's gonna mess up the election, and it's gonna. Okay, whatever. That would be a pretty far stretch. That would be a pretty far stretch. For something like that, it would have to get really out of control. And I don't know about you, but I don't see a mass, widespread case of gayness. And unless there's a bunch of gayness that goes around and gazes up, and we all start having homosexual sex, most of us are probably A-OK. Just saying. So I don't think that we need to worry so much about monkeypox taking over the world. Because, you know. Prepper channels crack me up. Any little thing that they can get, and they gotta run with it as far as they can. But it was declared an emergency. Yeah, and if you listen to the whole statement, they say that that this isn't the first time in recent history. So, but you gotta wanna not spread anxiety and fear, and gotta try a little bit. It's ridiculous. I caught one of Pinball's videos earlier today, and he's all talking about the economy, and he's talking about how it's the politicians that's making all the money. The politicians are, and I'm not saying that the politicians aren't making money, because they are. They're making a buttload of money. But if you look at the world's richest people, if you look at the list, politicians aren't anywhere near the top of that list. Nowhere near the top of the list. And so it's kind of nonsensical to say that politicians are the ones that are collecting all the dollarinos, because they're collecting a lot. But they aren't the ones taking the big hunks out of the pie. That's the big corporations. There ain't no way else to look at it. And I'm all about free market capitalism, and that's what he's trying to promote, and me too. But the current system, the way things are, and with the way these corporations are allowed to run willy-nilly, that is not free market capitalism. That is crony capitalism. And the way that the corporations are controlling the governments and everything else, and influencing through lobbying and other means, that's where the problem is. A lot of the problem. Because now they are able to make decisions that they shouldn't have the power to be able to make. That's where the problem lies. I mean, don't get me wrong, we got to clear out these politicians that are involved in doing this. But that's not the root of it. If you just clear out the current politicians that are taking all this money to make things favorable for these corporations are just going to approach the new people and just going to corrupt the new people. It's the way it works. We have to stop the ability for them to give them benefits for pushing things their way. The same even holds true locally here. I mean, corruption is a universal thing. And a lot of times, it's people trying to scratch each other's back. And the sad thing is that typically don't work out too well for you and I. That's the problem. Oh, man. I didn't look to see if they've got anything new. Ooh, the Iran update and the Russian update is out. So I reckon we could go take a peek at these. I reckon. Hang on, let me bring it up. Alright. Iran update, new tab. I'm not going to read the long form of it. I'm going to read the key takeaways because I'm cheap and easy like that. Iran is likely trying to build operational surprise ahead of its expected attack on Israel. CTP-ISW continues to assess that the most likely course of action is that Iran and its axis of resistance will conduct a coordinated drone and missile attack on Israel. Hostage ceasefire negotiations. The U.S., Egyptian, Israeli, and Qatari officials met in Doha for the latest round of ceasefire hostage negotiations. Hamas refused to attend but sent officials to engage in indirect talks. Gaza Strip. Hamas met with 3 other Palestinian militias in the Gaza Strip to discuss ceasefire hostage negotiation and post-war governance. It is notable that the Hamas meeting in the Gaza Strip did not include several prominent Palestinian militias. Syria. The IRGC announced the death of the IRGC Aerospace Force colonel from injuries sustained in an airstrike in Syria. The death reflects the increasingly prominent role that the IRGC Aerospace Force has adopted in Iranian extraterritorial operations in recent years. So, important stuff. And this goes into much more detail. The Institute for the Study of War. The website is understandingwar.org. And it's a pretty awesome website. Alright, the Russian offensive. Let's see what they got to update us on with that. Oops, helps if I get it in the right window. Scroll down to the key takeaways. They do a really good job of the updates. Ukrainian officials are taking steps to consolidate and coordinate the management of ongoing Ukrainian operations in Kursk Oblast while continuing to highlight Ukrainian advances. Russian mill bloggers claim that Ukrainian forces continued advancing in some areas of Kursk Oblast amid a generally slower tempo of Ukrainian operations in the area. Russian forces are maintaining their relatively high offensive tempo in Donetsk Oblast, demonstrating that the Russian military command continues to prioritize advances in eastern Ukraine, even as Ukraine is pressuring Russian forces with Kursk Oblast. Kremlin and the Russian military command are creating a complicated, overlapping, and so far ineffective command and control structure for the Russian response to the Ukrainian incursion in Kursk Oblast. Let's see. The delayed establishment of a complicated Russian C2 structure in Kursk Oblast continues to highlight the fact that the Kremlin failed to plan for the possibility of a significant Ukrainian incursion into Russia. The Kremlin appears to have a more coordinated approach to securing its control over the Russian information space than to addressing its military and C2 problems in Kursk Oblast. The Kremlin is likely trying to hastily create a new information space that predominantly features co-opted Russian mill bloggers and established Russian state propagandists. Ukrainian forces are reportedly using Western-provided equipment in Kursk Oblast, but remain limited in their ability to strike Russian military targets within Russia with Western-provided weapons. Ukraine is organizing the creation of a humanitarian corridor through which to evacuate Russian civilians who are impacted by the ongoing Kursk operation, filling an apparent vacuum left by the Kursk Oblast administration in fulfilling international legal requirements for the evacuation of civilian populations. Ukrainian General Staff reported that Ukrainian forces successfully conducted drone strikes against Russian air bases in Russia on the night of August 13th to 14th. Russian forces recently made confirmed advances in the Pokrovsk and Toretsk directions. The Russian government submitted a bill on August 15 to lower the admission age for Russian Volunteer Society for Assistance to the Army, Aviation, and Navy of Russia from 18 years to the age of 14. So in other words, they're going to start allowing 14-year-olds in the military. So again, the Institute for the Study of War, the website is understandingwar.org if you want to check those out. A lot of information there. I'm not going to sit there and read through the whole report. I would be here like half the night. They're not that big, but they're considerably good size, and they really dig deep. So if you really want to know what's going on with the conflict with both Iran, Israel and all that, and Russia, Ukraine, again, understandingwar.org is the place to go. So I am kind of surprised, to be honest, that we haven't seen a considerable attack yet on Israel. Getting my e-cigs on the charger and my watch. I am ready for bed. I'm sore, I'm tired. Pretty steamy day today. Here anyway. Alright. I doubt there's anything new on this, but I'll check. Nope. I don't know of any other sites offhand to show you. Any other news articles. I don't think I put anything out on Twitter to be able to, because that's what I do. If there's something that I don't want to miss, and I don't know for sure if I'll be able to get it later or find it, I share it out. Nope, I didn't. Wanted to make sure. Creating your space. Gosh. I didn't know if anybody can do the spaces thing, or if you have to, be a verified account or whatever. I figured you'd have to be verified, but it doesn't look like it. I don't know. All this social media crapola. Not much into it. Huh. Now I'm getting further and further, I don't know. I'm almost at the point where I'd be good to live out in the middle of the sticks with little to no internet, but I couldn't game. That would suck. And it's not that gaming is that important to me or that I do it that often, but it is my getaway. And I would like to do it a little bit more. I'd like to get a little better. That would be nice. Let's see. Just seeing if there's anything else going on. Still a lot of oddities in the whole Trump assassination attempt deal. Still not getting a whole lot of good answers there. Of course, all the election stuff is still nonsense. I hear that Kamala is about to start letting the people know what she plans to do, because all this time her website has been blank. So nobody even knew what the hell she was intending to do if she won the office of the presidency. So we'll see. I don't even know what to think as far as that's concerned. So we'll see. I know a lot of people are saying, "Oh, Trump's acting scared." I don't know. I don't know what the hell's going on. Neither do the prepper channels. Neither, nobody knows what the hell's going on. And in the end, it ain't going to make a damn bit of difference, because the ones that are truly in control are going to get their way. Even if it's not an intentional distraction, doesn't mean it's not a distraction. In the end, I'm telling you, the people that truly call the shots are going to get their way. If we wanted to be able to fight back, to actually save what we had, we needed to have started a long time ago. And I'm talking probably a couple of decades ago. And that's really no exaggeration. 2008 should have been a clue. It should have been a wake-up call. And people should have did something. And we are in such a worse spot now than we were in 2008. Of course, after 2001 with the Patriot Act and all that stuff, having all of our freedom stripped away, mass surveillance of every single last one of us, while they allow themselves to get hacked and everybody to have our social security numbers and everything else. It's a little bit ridiculous. Just a teeny little bit ridiculous. Of course, I was one of the crazy conspiracy theorists that said they should have never put that shit online to begin with, but you know how that goes. Anyway, I don't got anything else, and I am tired. I think I'm gonna pop off here and get stuff ready for the bed, because I am tired. I'm sore. And I'm out of ibuprofen and all that good stuff, so I get to toss and turn until I can pop my back enough to pass out. Anyway, I'm getting out of here. I hope everybody has a good evening. God willing, I'll be back on Tuesday night, and I will see you all then. So hope everybody has a good night. Shalom.